spend many hours wondering what to do. And I believe it's about exposure. People need to get out and see something else.
But I think you're absolutely correct, because I remember.
Oh, wait a minute. Did everybody hear that? That's beautiful. Say that again.
You're absolutely correct.
Okay, go ahead.
No,
Anselm, I'm just shocked.
I don't get it with you sometimes. I just don't get it with you sometimes.
What do you think?
You know what? I compliment you all the time, but what happens is that you're quickly looking at all the other stuff that the compliments just fly straight over your head.
Marjorie, that's my warped.
Yeah, all the compliments that you give, you know what it is, and I tell you, I told you this off
It's got something
air.
to do with not exercising, I'm sure.
No, it doesn't have to do with exercise. And I told you about this. Sometimes in life, we are always looking at the closed door, and right next to that closed door is the open door. And
or
we don't want
to window.
An open window. And we don't want to see that open window or the open door. But we focusing on that closed door, man. Man, that door is closed. How am I going to get through that closed door? How am I going to get through that closed? And there's an open window right there and the open door. You focusing on that closed door. You're like, wow. And then after all these years, you said, I got the solution. I'm going to go through that open door, that open window right there.
Let me see if that window's open. I see one there. It's probably locked, too, if the door's locked.
So you see? So what you have to do is that anyway.
Okay, all right.
Anyway.
We'll get back to preaching at me.
So what we did is we sent our son something called People to People.
Okay.
All right. He was
It's an
somewhere.
expensive program.
Oh my God, is expensive. He was somewhere out in oh my God, that.
What country? Australia?
Yellowstone Park. I think Yellowstone Park.
Oh, so this was an international one.
No, this wasn't an international one.
Okay.
This was in Yellowstone Park. But he went to different ones, all the way out in Yellowstone Park. And when he was like about 10 or 11 years of age, we sent him to a soccer academy in Florida.
Okay.
The IMG Academy.
Did you go, or you just sent him?
No, sent him.
Okay.
Listen, here it is. You go experience it. So, and many times we sent him to Trinidad and Tobago as well. We sent him to St. Vincent. We sent him to Union Island. We sent him, look, go and explore. I'll give you a funny story. We were in Union Island, right? It's a little island, a very small island. It's St. Vincent and the Grenadines. A little small island. Beautiful, man. Whew. Wonderful. So, my son and I was walking in the streets. And in Union Island, they have the cows and the goats and the stuff just crossing the street.
Right.
Walking like normal.
Yeah, I've been in places like that.
So my son came, he said, Dad, are you going to stop and wait for the cows to go by? He said, what are you talking about, man?
We're going to run through them now.
We're just gonna keep walking. He said, Dad, I'm not walking like that. This is crazy stuff. I'm like, this is, he's like, yeah, we don't have that in the United States of America. So I said, trust me. The cows they're not even worried about you. They're just going in a place to get their grass so they could feed themselves and be happy.
Cows are cool. I like places that have cows
So
walking around.
those are the type of experience. And my daughter my daughter been to Spain, Finland, Italy, Puerto Rico, Germany, Sweden, England. So what it is that, you're giving them something. She's been to Trinidad and Tobago. She's been to the Caribbean. So
right.
you're giving them an experience outside of just the community and going into the village.
Right.
It's going into the village and hanging out. I never allowed my son to go into the village and hang out. And to me, it's useless.
Well, you're with your peer group and you're walking around up and down.
Doing
blocks. What? I don't know.
Just walking up and down.
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. I mean, but at any rate, yeah. So
it served no purpose. Anyway, so getting back to the discussion, actually, are we gonna
experiences? Yes.
Yeah, we're just gonna forego the commercial tonight because I think this is an important discussion. Getting back to that experience tonight, I was kind of disappointed that I was
seen the look on his
that
face.
I was proven correct. Because I thought...
And that was just a piece of it. I mean, we should do some more. We need to talk to some more. It's too bad we keep missing parent nights or whatever. How do we miss that? Because it would be nice to talk to parents as they come out, too. We need some more opportunities. And these kids they're very gun shy or whatever, the shy to express themselves.
That's the next thing.
That was
kind of disappointing.
But I mean, a lot of people are like that when you put a mic in front of their face. What's cool about being on radio or whatever is that no one can see you.
The few white kids we talked to weren't shy.
No, they're not. They're not afraid to express themselves.
That's what I'm saying. They were like, is this live? So.
Especially that one girl, she was funny.
Yeah, it's not trying to disparage, the kids
but why
of
would
color.
you be ashamed? Well, I mean, I understand, I guess, but why be ashamed of how you speak or what you have to say?
Well, you know what? I could understand.
If it is shame, I don't know if it was shame or it couldn't be shyness because they didn't seem to be shy boys.
But I think I could understand if you from the Caribbean and your main language is French, and you may not have a proper hold of the English that you may not want to speak, on a live radio program.
I didn't see that.
I can understand.
I mean,
that.
Okay, but that wasn't the excuse in this case, though.
Well, there was a few Haitian kids that we spoke to. I could tell by their accent that there were a few Haitian kids, and those were the ones that didn't really want to say much. So I could understand that. I could understand it. But for the other kids, but there was this one kid of color. I forgot. I should have gotten his name. He was very eloquent. That was the kid that was in all honors classes.
Yes.
Yeah, he was very eloquent. He spoke
and so
properly.
was a little kid who had the skateboard.
The little kid that had the skateboard too.
Yeah.
He was very eloquent too, and he was also in honors, but he was in regular classes too as well.
Regular ones.
So there is something missing, man. That you are in honors classes for like biology, and biology is not easy. But then, like, you in level 3 for like English or something.
No, but most of them had level 4 classes in social studies.
Right.
And everything else was level 3.
Math and even level 2.
Level 2. And you could sort of thought like some of them were lying because they didn't say it right. You know, I'm like, so what levels are you in? Are you? Oh, yeah. I'm in level 4. I mean, they weren't. Mm-hmm. It wasn't straight up. It was really, but I thought it was kind of funny because I deal with that every day. So.
Well,
it's. Go ahead.
We actually interviewed the principal too, and you know what? I didn't want to get political with her. Okay. I just didn't think it was the right. She's new and stuff like that.
She looked. If that was her sitting as a small white woman, she looked kind of like shook as it was. Yeah. Because you can walk up to her and, ask her about some of anything, and I can't comment on that. And,
What about Nicole Dufault?
What do you think about this? Or,
Are the 5 kids African-American kids? And I also talked to Jerry Ryan, committee man Jerry Ryan, from the Maplewood Township Committee.
Right.
But you also saw the guy from Maplewood Online was there as well, Jamie, right?
Yes, Jamie.
Yeah, they were kind of, who is that? They was like,
and you didn't introduce yourself to him, huh? See, I thought you were behind me. So I'm walking. Now I know not to do that. That I have to be behind you because you're the Trinidadian man and you won't take the lead. See? So you have to take the lead. So now I know that.
You can go get people too.
No,
just
but
come over and interview
I know.
them.
I've seen you do that before.
What's that?
But at the debate. But if I thought we were going to go out and you kept working the crowd. So when I turn around, you're nowhere, and then you're talking to these other people, which is cool. But I should have just stayed back. So,
come. What we can do, because I'm trying to get, I'm trying to get a diverse crowd too as well.
Yeah.
And there was one guy, he was there for the band. His daughter was in the band, so he really didn't care about the football.
Yeah, I think there was at least 2 white parents. Right. That's why Jerry
it's funny. It's funny that you say that, and I just noticed something. Like, most of the black parents were for the football players, and most of the white parents were for the band. Mm-hmm. As you just said that, I just figured that out because there's not much diversity on the football team.
Or in the cheerleading squad.
Yeah. But the band is a whole different ball game.
Isn't that something?
Isn't that something, though?
I wish I'd looked at the band to see if they were mostly white.
Yeah. It's predominantly. Yeah.
Isn't that something?
Yeah,
so we can't take up an instrument either, huh? It's not cool enough to do that.
So it's STEM. What's STEM again? It's science, technology,
engineering,
and math.
Yes.
So well, if you got biology, that's a science.
Yes,
if you're in honors, so you're in science.
Right.
Technology is like computers. Engineering, you got to do math, right?
Right.
If you to be an engineer, and then you have
just plain old mathematics.
Just plain old mathematics.
But engineering, from what I remember from my job this summer, I mean, it's the process and trying to plug in a mathematical or scientific solution to some human problem.
So what was your takeaway from last night? I mean, other than
finding that. Watching you looking sad and disappointed.
Other than the Columbia Cougars
and
losing
me
the
feeling,
game.
I didn't think about the game.
Like
confirmed that I knew that a lot of kids don't want. They don't want. I mean,
I can't believe that the kids don't want.
Well, again, I know that a lot of kids don't want. Some do.
Mm-hmm.
But there are a number who don't.
A lot of them.
And they have to be shown a reason why they should want.
Mm-hmm.
And develop a thinking pattern. Mm. And I just, that's why it always, for me, goes back to experiential learning and exposure. If you could just see what was out there. If you could just see what was available to you. If you could just see some other options. Anything.
But
anything else. I mean, if you can't make it here, maybe you can make it somewhere else. And once your daughter travels outside of the country, then they'll never want to stop traveling outside
Absolutely.
of the country.
No joke.
So if you get somebody out, I had a kid one time, it was the last day of school, and this kid hung around me. He was a culinary kid, and I'm walking in my car. He's helping me take stuff to the car. And he said, miss, I've never been to Jersey. I'm like, what are you talking about? And I work in the shadow of the Bayonne Bridge. I'm like, you've never been on the other side of that bridge? He's like, no, you've never even been to Jersey Gardens. No, okay, no. I've been to Jersey once. It was a great adventure. I'm like, other than that, you've never been to New Jersey. No. And he was a graduating senior. I said, okay, look, call your mother. Let's go. So he came back here with me. And I'm driving around Maplewood, South Orange. And I'm like, what's beautiful about this is you don't know who lives in any of these houses. They could be black, white, you just don't know, and you pull around somebody's house, like in this neighborhood that I know, and they come out, hey, are you? Like, really? I pull into my driveway, my modest driveway that wasn't beat up at that time. Whose house is, I live here. You live on a street with all white people. No, there aren't all white people on my street. And, we had to go shopping. I think we were getting something for my daughter. And, we went to Short Hills Mall and into Livingston. And, later, and he's like, you don't know how much that meant to me just taking me there. And now this kid is trying to outdo me. So he graduated in 2009. I just went to Tanzania and Zanzibar. I'm trying to go to this country. I've been to England. And I'm not like trying to give myself, all that credit, but
no, expose you.
But it is about. He
lived
in East New York, and that was it. And
that's
now
it.
he's like all over the place.
You know what? And that's such a great point, because listen to this. I grew up in one of the poorest, and this is serious now, one of the poorest neighborhoods in Trinidad and Tobago. Back then, I used to say we were so poor, they dropped the OR. We were just poor.
Now, right? That's not original, audience, but go ahead.
No, that's not original. but, and I never really got out of the community that I lived in. That even when I was an adult, I didn't know that there were gated communities in Trinidad and Tobago. Because one time I went back and I was staying with a friend who lived in a gated community. And I clueless about a gated community because that wasn't my experience. I never knew there was a gated community. But once I got out of that, I traveled due to running, due to track, I traveled a lot of different places all across New York and everything else. Then I